Every neighborhood has its heartbeat, a corner store where the ordinary pulses with life, where familiar faces exchange fleeting smiles, and the soft hum of refrigeration is the rhythm of routine. It is in such unassuming places that the illusion of safety often feels most profound, a quiet pact between community and circumstance. But on one particular night, as the city drifted into slumber, that comforting hum was brutally silenced, shattered by an unseen intrusion. A shadow moved where only light should have been, leaving devastation in its wake, erasing a future with chilling precision. The only witnesses were silent, unblinking eyes, the omnipresent sentinels of a new age capturing fragments of truth that initially felt like ghosts. Yet, these pixelated echoes held the key, a desperate whisper from the darkness, challenging those left behind to piece together the unspeakable. In a world where every step leaves a digital footprint, can the truth truly remain hidden when the very fabric of daily life becomes a silent digital crime scene? In the vibrant pulse of a thriving urban neighborhood, Cornerstone Groceries stood as more than just a place of transaction. It was a communal anchor, a quiet hub where the rhythms of daily life converged. Here, amidst the comforting scent of freshly brewed coffee and the soft, steady hum of the refrigerated aisles, Maya Rodriguez navigated her late-night shifts. At 22, Maya was a constellation of bright dreams, each aspiration a vivid stroke on the canvas of her future. Her ambitions reached far beyond the modest storefront, stretching toward the hallowed galleries of New York, a future where her vibrant art found its true home. For now, the Bodega served as her familiar stage, a place of fleeting interactions and quiet moments of creative escape. On a seemingly unremarkable Tuesday night, the comforting drone of Cornerstone Groceries began to wane as the final customers trickled out. Maya remained alone in the quiet expanse, meticulously refining a charcoal portrait in her sketchbook, unaware of the insidious presence that had already breached the store's quiet sanctity. A silent shadow moved through the aisles, waiting to extinguish the light of her world. The tranquil rhythm of her evening was about to be savagely, irrevocably silenced. The dawn that followed painted the sky, not with the usual optimistic blush, but with shades of bruised purple and heavy gray, a stark prophetic reflection of the horror that awaited the waking city. A lone jogger navigating the familiar pre-dawn route discovered the bodega's door ajar, a disquieting invitation into an unnatural stillness. The sudden chilling realization of what lay within sent a profound tremor through the awakening neighborhood, transforming their once familiar corner store into a meticulously delineated crime scene, bathed in the flashing, unforgiving light of arriving emergency services. For Maria Rodriguez, Maya's mother, the telephone's insistent ring pierced the fragile barrier of sleep, delivering a single devastating sentence that tore a ragged hole through her reality. A guttural gasp escaped her throat, and she found herself grappling for breath, caught in the undertow of a pain so profound it threatened to consume her whole. Leo Chen, Maya's closest friend and confidant, felt the news like a jolt, a sudden, brutal impact that stole the air from his lungs, his mind reeling as he struggled desperately to reconcile the vibrant spirit he knew, the artist who painted with such joyous abandon, with the unimaginable tragedy now unfolding. An unspoken dread settled over the community, unifying them in a silent, desperate plea for answers. Over what was once a beacon of everyday life, a dark, heavy cloud descended, casting a long, mournful shadow. The pre-dawn quiet of the neighborhood was abruptly torn by the shrill chorus of sirens, their flashing blue and red lights casting urgent, pulsating shadows across the facade of Cornerstone Groceries. Patrol units descended first, their vehicles pulling up with an urgent precision, quickly followed by the specialized vans of the crime scene unit and the unmarked sedans of homicide detectives. Among the first to arrive were Detective Miles Corbin and his partner, Detective Sarah Reed. Corbin, his face etched with the weariness of too many dark dawns, carried an almost tangible sense of grim determination. Reed moved with a quiet, observant precision, her gaze already sweeping the scene, absorbing every detail with unnerving focus. The air around the bodega hung heavy, a sterile scent of disinfectant from arriving units beginning to cut through the lingering traces of morning dew. It was a clinical aroma soon to be overlaid by the metallic tang of fear and the palpable weight of fresh, raw grief. Beyond the shattered glass door, every detail within the bodega spoke of violence. Shelving units lay toppled like fallen dominoes, their contents scattered across the linoleum. Merchandise, once neatly stacked, now lay strewn and crushed, a silent, desolate tableau of a life abruptly taken. The processing of the crime scene commenced with an almost clinical precision, a methodical choreography that stood in stark contrast to the raw emotion bubbling just outside the yellow tape. Technicians, clad in sterile suits, moved with deliberate purpose. Every item, from the smallest shard of glass to the largest piece of overturned furniture, was meticulously catalogued, photographed, and bagged. Every surface, every crack and crevice was examined for prints, for fibers, for any minute trace evidence left behind by the perpetrator. It was painstaking work, a silent conversation with the scene itself, urging it to yield its secrets. Amidst the methodical collection of evidence, a first glimmer of hope, however faint, emerged almost immediately. The prominent, albeit somewhat dated security cameras positioned strategically throughout the store. Their lenses, though unblinking, held the potential to reveal what human eyes could not. The footage, retrieved with a sense of urgent expectation by a digital forensics expert, represented the nascent crucial lead in what would become a complex and deeply emotional investigation. Outside the immediate perimeter, as the news of the tragedy spread like wildfire through the awakening neighborhood, the first waves of distraught family members began to arrive. Their cries of anguish cut through the methodical hum of police work, a visceral, shattering sound that laid bare the profound grief and raw disruption lurking just beyond the sterile tape and flashing lights. The initial review of the Cornerstone Groceries surveillance footage began as a grueling, often agonizing process for Detectives Corbin and Reed. Huddled alongside a dedicated digital forensics expert, they strained to decipher the coarse, pixelated images flickering across the monitor. The video, a silent, unsettling narrative, offered fleeting glimpses, an indistinct silhouette, the merest suggestion of a struggle, and then a rapid, shadowy disappearance, a figure melting into the unforgiving night beyond the bodega's threshold, leaving behind only profound questions and devastation. The visual quality was profoundly deficient, a spectral presence caught on film offering tantalizing hints, but no immediate decisive answers to the central query: who had committed this atrocity? Even as the digital trail proved stubbornly elusive, the physical crime scene at Cornerstone Groceries continued to surrender its secrets. Forensic technicians, working with unflagging dedication, meticulously catalogued and collected every potential piece of evidence. Beneath a toppled display stand, partially obscured by scattered merchandise, lay a single, unusually carved button clearly torn from clothing during the violent encounter. Near the checkout counter, a faint yet remarkably distinct boot print was preserved in a thin dusting of spilled flour, securing a crucial detail. And clinging to Maya's uniform, a few stray dark fibers offered another subtle thread in the nascent tapestry of the investigation. Concurrently, the exhaustive door-to-door canvassing of the neighborhood commenced. Detectives systematically knocked on every door within a 5-block radius, interviewing exhausted residents, most of whom had been deep in sleep during the attack. Their responses formed a disheartening chorus of nothing heard, nothing seen, their peaceful slumber, undisturbed by the violence that had erupted mere blocks away. This pervasive silence, a stark testament to the perpetrator's chilling stealth, underscored the immense challenge confronting investigators. Against this backdrop of methodical police work and the frustrating scarcity of direct eyewitnesses, Maria Rodriguez stood before a phalanx of television cameras. Her voice, trembling with barely suppressed grief, remained resolute in its purpose. Her eyes, swollen with unshed tears, yet unwavering, mirrored the collective anguish of a neighborhood grappling to comprehend the senseless loss. "Someone knows something," she implored, her words, a raw articulation of a mother's pain and an unyielding demand for any scrap of information, a desperate beacon in the profound and spreading darkness. The digital forensics team toiled with relentless dedication, pushing the limits of their advanced enhancement software to refine the blurred fragments captured by the Bodega's surveillance system. Gradually, through painstaking effort, the pixelated specter from that chilling midnight flight began to surrender its guarded truths. Meticulous analysis revealed subtle yet critical characteristics, a specific posture in the perpetrator's stride, a faint, almost imperceptible limp, and the hazy outline of a particular vehicle, an older, dark-colored sedan, bearing a recognizable dent on its passenger side fender. This composite description, painstakingly assembled from fleeting visual moments, solidified into the nascent blueprint of their suspect profile. The definitive breakthrough, however, arrived not from a high-tech laboratory, but from an observant elderly resident named Mrs. Eleanor Henderson, whose home lay just a few blocks from Cornerstone Groceries. During a follow-up interview with Detectives Corbin and Reed, a detail she had initially dismissed as minor resurfaced with striking clarity. She vividly recounted seeing a dark sedan precisely matching the description generated by the detectives accelerating away from the bodega in the dead of night, mere minutes after the estimated time of the crime. More significantly, she recalled an unusual man whose presence had unsettled her loitering near the bodega earlier that same evening, a man whose manner of carrying himself with a discernible hitch in his walk had registered as oddly out of place. "He just didn't sit right with me," she stated, her voice unwavering. Cross-referencing these converging details, the vehicle characteristics from the enhanced footage and Mrs. Henderson's precise recollection of the man's peculiar gait with local police databases, the detectives swiftly generated a short list of individuals with prior minor offenses and matching vehicle registrations. One name in particular resonated with unsettling significance: Nathan Thorne. A relatively recent quiet transplant to the area. Thorne's registered vehicle was an exact match for the dark sedan, with the identifying dent, and his physical build and gait bore an uncanny resemblance to the elusive figure captured on the newly refined footage. The investigation had secured its first concrete, chillingly specific lead, propelling them from the murk of uncertainty into a focused, determined pursuit. With Nathan Thorne, now a person of intense interest, detectives Corbin and Reed immediately launched a covert surveillance operation, their focus sharpened. From a distance, Thorne projected an utterly unremarkable exterior. He held a modest job at a local warehouse, largely kept to himself, and adhered to a seemingly monotonous daily routine. His apartment appeared tidy, his social interactions minimal. Yet beneath this veneer of ordinary existence, the seasoned detectives perceived a disquieting undercurrent, a meticulous fabrication designed to divert any genuine scrutiny. They observed a subtle shift in his demeanor when he believed he was unwatched, a fleeting shadow in his eyes, hinting at something profound concealed beneath his calm front. As they delved deeper into Thorne's background, the carefully woven threads of his seemingly mundane life began to fray, exposing a complex tapestry riddled with inconsistencies and a troubling past. Records unearthed a string of petty theft charges, many dismissed or reduced, spanning years and several states. Contacted discreetly, a former employer in a neighboring town recounted Thorne's increasingly erratic behavior, sudden disproportionate bursts of anger, and a disturbing inclination to construct elaborate self-serving narratives to excuse his failings or missteps. He possessed a history, they discovered, of presenting one agreeable, almost charming visage to the world, while darker, more volatile aspects of his personality continually surfaced like a persistent, unsettling hum beneath the surface. His was clearly a pattern of intricate duplicity, a life lived on two distinct planes. For Maria Rodriguez and Leo Chen, the revelation that a suspect had been identified in Maya's murder stirred a complex torrent of emotions. A flicker of desperate hope ignited within Maria, a fierce longing for justice that she clutched with unwavering resolve. Yet it was inextricably mingled with a deepening primal fear. The chilling realization that someone could commit such a heinous act against a vibrant young woman and then simply vanish back into the anonymity of everyday life was a terrifying prospect. It amplified their vulnerability, making the very fabric of their world feel more fragile. Meanwhile, the detectives meticulously scrutinized Thorne's alibi for the night of Maya's murder. It proved flimsy, bordering on non-existent, based on vague, unsubstantiated claims of being alone at home watching television. No receipts, no credible witness, no discernible digital trace corroborated his account. This glaring lack of verification intensified the detectives' suspicions, solidifying their conviction that Thorne's outward composure was nothing more than an elaborate charade, a fragile shield designed to conceal a monstrous truth. The quiet, relentless work of surveillance continued, slowly, inexorably tightening the net around their primary target as the intricate facade of Nathan Thorne's double life steadily began to crack. The scattered, disparate pieces of evidence had long felt like fragments of a shattered mirror reflecting only confusion. Yet the seasoned investigators, Detectives Corbin and Reed, now sensed a profound shift, a subtle hum in the air, as if the very atoms of the case were finally aligning. Quiet certainty began to bloom among the investigative team, a sense that the myriad, frustratingly formless threads were at last weaving into a coherent, chilling narrative. This was the precise moment where the raw power of cutting-edge technology truly intersected with relentless traditional detective work. Beyond the limited, often grainy scope of the Bodega's internal cameras, police methodically cast a far wider net, meticulously gathering footage from an extensive, frequently overlooked network of public and private surveillance sources. Traffic cameras positioned at key intersections, miles away from cornerstone groceries, began to yield critical results. Their unblinking lenses captured Nathan Thorne's distinctive dark sedan, at times precisely consistent with his escape route, following the murder, tracing a chilling path through the unsuspecting urban sprawl. Each time-stamped image, though, silent, spoke volumes. Even more compellingly, a residential doorbell camera discreetly positioned on a quiet side street, often utilized as a cut-through, captured a surprisingly clear image of Thorne himself. For a fleeting moment, he was seen stepping out of his vehicle, his movements precise and deliberate. He reached into his coat pocket, retrieved something small and dark, and swiftly discarded it into a public trash can before seamlessly re-entering his car and driving away. It was a detail, so mundane, yet so profoundly damning, captured by an unwitting digital sentinel. Simultaneously, the forensic lab delivered a critical, long-awaited update. From the unique carved button found at the crime scene, a partial DNA profile had been successfully extracted, a genetic fingerprint left behind by the perpetrator. Further analysis also confirmed the recovery of a distinct hair follicle from the scene, offering another potential direct link. The race was now on to legally obtain a DNA sample from Nathan Thorne to confirm what the accumulating digital trail was so powerfully suggesting. This potent convergence of technological breakthroughs, irrefutable visual evidence, charting the suspect's movements to and from the scene, coupled with the nascent forensic links, provided compelling objective data. The case against Thorne solidified dramatically. The net was tightening. Armed with an accumulating mountain of evidence, Detectives Corbin and Reed recognized the profound shift in their investigation. The long shadow of surveillance had given way to the sharp, unyielding glare of confrontation. Their apprehension plan was meticulously drafted, every contingency analyzed, every officer briefed on their precise role. In the pre-dawn hours, under the still, quiet shroud of night that clung to the city streets, a tactical arrest team moved swiftly and silently on Nathan Thorne's unassuming apartment building. The street remained deserted, illuminated only by the faint glow of distant streetlights as officers secured the perimeter, their movements precise and coordinated, a hushed ballet of law enforcement. Then a sharp, authoritative rap reverberated through the silent building, a sudden percussive sound designed to shatter the deceptive peace of Thorne's slumber. From within, a muffled stir, then a tense silence. Another knock, firmer this time. The door opened a mere crack, revealing Nathan Thorne disheveled, his eyes blinking against the sudden hallway light. His initial reaction was a chilling performance, a deliberate attempt to project groggy surprise, an air of bewildered innocence. His eyes, still clouded with sleep, widened slightly in feigned confusion. But as Detective Corbin, his voice calm and steady, stated the precise reason for their presence, Nathan Thorne, "We have a warrant for your arrest in connection with the murder of Maya Rodriguez." An unnerving stillness settled over Thorne's features. For a fleeting moment, his face became an expressionless mask devoid of any discernible emotion. Then the facade violently shattered, dissolving into a volatile cocktail of raw denial and uncontrolled rage. His jaw clenched, his neck flushed crimson, and he began to bellow accusations, his voice climbing in pitch with each desperate, furious word hurled at the officers. "What is this about? You have nothing on me," he roared, his fury almost animalistic as the crushing reality of his crumbling double life finally descended upon him. As he was cuffed, his struggles defiant but futile, Thorne was escorted out of the building. Simultaneously, a dedicated search team swept through his apartment, their meticulous work a silent testament to their training. They moved with quiet purpose, sifting through his sparse belongings, examining every corner with practiced efficiency. Their patience was rewarded with a damning discovery. In the deepest recess of his closet, tucked away beneath a pile of old clothes, lay a pair of rugged work boots. One boot, upon careful inspection, bore an identical, distinctive tread pattern, a perfect match to the faint print preserved in the spilled flour at Cornerstone Groceries. The silent crime scene at long last had found its undeniable voice. The interrogation room, a space designed for stark realities, became a psychological battlefield for Nathan Thorne as detectives Corbin and Reed began their relentless questioning. The moment the recording light cast its silent red gaze, Thorne launched into an elaborate yet fatally inconsistent narrative. He started by vehemently denying any connection to Maya Rodriguez or Cornerstone Groceries, feigning total ignorance, his eyes wide with a practiced, unsettling innocence. As detectives Corbin and Reed, composed and unyielding across the polished table, presented the initial grainy bodega footage, Thorne's carefully constructed fiade began its subtle telltale shift. He conceded a hesitant recognition of the general area, then quickly claimed he had merely been passing by the bodega that night, perhaps a curious bystander drawn by some fleeting, forgotten impulse. His voice remained unnervingly, even a deliberate attempt to project an air of cooperative confusion. But the detectives, sharpened by years of breaking through layers of deception, pressed on unyielding. They methodically laid out the ever-mounting evidence, each new detail, a precise strike against Thorne's brittle story. They revealed the enhanced traffic camera footage, meticulously tracking his distinctive dark sedan's movements from miles away. Then came the chilling clarity of the residential doorbell camera's image, unequivocally capturing Thorne himself, momentarily stepping from his vehicle on a quiet side street. They detailed the damning discovery of the matching boots in his closet, and finally delivered the news of the impending DNA analysis, a genetic net tightening inexorably around him. With each irrefutable fact, Thorne's composure visibly fractured. His initial denials gave way to agitated, desperate outbursts. His explanations grew increasingly fantastical, spiraling into convoluted tales of misdirection. He attempted to deflect blame, asserting he had seen someone else near the bodega, that fateful night, conjuring vague descriptions of a phantom figure that dissolved instantly under the detective's calm surgical scrutiny. His eyes darted nervously, his fingers picked at unseen lint, the carefully applied veneer of control peeling away with each new revelation. Detectives Corbin and Reed maintained their stoic, unwavering pressure, systematically dismantling each of Thorne's lies with undeniable facts, refusing him any room to maneuver or escape. The moment of breakthrough arrived not as a genuine confession of guilt, but as a twisted, disingenuous half-truth. Cornered and exposed, Thorne finally offered a performative, almost theatrical apology, claiming the entire horrific incident was an accident, a tragic misunderstanding that had spiraled wildly out of control. Yet his gaze remained cold, utterly devoid of any genuine remorse, betraying only the chilling depths of his self-preservation, a man trapped but utterly unrepentant. With Nathan Thorne's arrest now a reality and the evidence against him solidifying into an unyielding wall, the investigation swiftly transitioned into its critical judicial phase. The profound gravity of the crime demanded swift, decisive action. A grand jury, presented with detectives Corbin and Reed's meticulous investigative findings, coupled with the compelling digital and forensic evidence linking Thorne to the brutal murder, returned an indictment or voted to indict without claiming anonymity unless sourced. Nathan Thorne was officially charged with the murder of Maya Rodriguez. The prosecution team, spearheaded by the formidable District Attorney Eleanor Vance, immediately launched into the arduous process of trial preparation. This was far more than a mere formality. It was a painstaking, methodical reconstruction of the crime engineered to eliminate any vestige of uncertainty in the minds of a future jury. Their robust strategy hinged heavily upon the undeniable visual testimony provided by the Bodega cameras and the extensive network of surveillance footage that had precisely charted Thorne's every clandestine move. Each time-stamped video clip, each clear image of his sedan, each fleeting glimpse of Thorne himself became a silent, damning witness, weaving an inescapable web of culpability. The defense, led by the astute and equally relentless attorney, Marcus Thorne, a detail the court meticulously clarified as having no relation to the accused, simultaneously began to forge its counter-narrative. Their primary strategy aimed to undermine the seemingly ironclad camera evidence, attempting to portray it as inherently unreliable, too grainy for definitive identification, and susceptible to multiple interpretation. They would forcefully argue for the inherent fallibility of technology, seeking to implant doubt where certainty had been meticulously engineered. Furthermore, they hinted strongly at possible coercion during Nathan Thorne's interrogation, aiming to invalidate the confession by depicting an overwhelmed man succumbing to relentless police pressure. For Maya's family, especially her mother Maria, the impending trial represented a new agonizing chapter in their profound grief. Each legal maneuver, each pre-trial hearing, tore open fresh wounds, forcing them to relive the horror that had consumed their lives. The sterile language of legal proceedings felt utterly inadequate to convey the vibrant spirit that had been extinguished. Yet fueled by an unyielding, fierce determination to secure justice, for Maya Maria braced herself to face Nathan Thorne in court. She stood ready to bear witness to the devastating truth, to ensure that her daughter's life and its brutal conclusion would neither be forgotten nor dismissed. The sheer, crushing weight of their pain, their collective sorrow, transformed into a formidable driving force, propelling them forward in their unwavering pursuit of accountability. They sought not merely a verdict, but profound validation for a life tragically cut short. The trial of Nathan Thorne became a searing crucible of raw emotion and exacting legal strategy unfolding within the hushed intensity of the courtroom. The spectator gallery, packed to capacity each day, served as a somber, silent testament to the community's desperate demand for answers, their collective grief, a palpable presence in the stifled coughs and hushed whispers that filled the air. Detectives Corbin and Reed delivered their testimonies with professional precision, their voices steady as they recounted the painstaking investigation, detailing how overwhelming digital evidence had meticulously charted Thorne's movements to and from Cornerstone groceries. Forensic experts followed, presenting their findings with unassailable clarity. The unique carved button and the distinctive boot print were definitively linked to the defendant, while the DNA evidence, a silent molecular scream, forged an undeniable connection, stripping away any possibility of innocence. Yet, it was the wrenching testimony from Maya's mother, Maria Rodriguez, and her closest friend, Leo Chen, that truly illuminated the immeasurable, devastating void left behind. Maria, her voice trembling at first, then hardening with a profound, unyielding strength, spoke not just of loss, but of Maya's luminous spirit, her boundless artistic dreams, and the quiet joy she found in sketching. She painted a vivid living portrait of the daughter she cherished, a future tragically extinguished. Leo, his own voice, thick with emotion, recounted shared laughter, ambitious plans, and the sudden, incomprehensible silence that now consumed the space Maya once occupied. The jurors listened intently, their faces etched with the profound weight of the tragedy, their gazes occasionally flickering towards Nathan Thorne, who remained impassive, an unreadable mask. After days of compelling testimony, grueling cross-examinations, and impassioned closing arguments, the jury retreated to deliberate. A palpable tension settled over the courtroom, a collective breath held as everyone awaited the decision that would define justice for Maya. The weight proved excruciating for Maya's family, a silent agony of hope battling crushing fear, each minute stretching into an eternity. Maria clutched Leo's hand, their knuckles white, their gazes fixed on the closed jury room door, willing the truth to emerge. When the jury foreman finally returned, the air crackled with anticipation, a charged silence descending upon the courtroom. The single word "guilty" resonated through the stillness, delivered with solemn gravity, followed by a collective gasp of profound, almost dizzying relief from the gallery. Tears streamed down Maria's face, not of exultant joy, but of a deep release, the burden of overdue justice finally lifted. Nathan Thorne, however, remained chillingly defiant. His face was a mask of cold indifference, his eyes devoid of any flicker of remorse as the verdict was read. During the subsequent victim impact statements, Maria, her voice still trembling, but now infused with a steel-like resolve, rose to directly address Thorne. Her words delivered with dignity, but carrying the immense weight of a mother's pain, became a searing indictment of his actions. She spoke of the future. Maya was brutally robbed of the art. She would never create the love she would never share. "You took everything from us," she articulated, her gaze fixed on the man who had shattered her world, ensuring that Maya's vibrant essence, though silenced, would echo powerfully through the cold, unforgiving walls of the courtroom, a lasting testament against the silence Thorne had sought to impose. The conviction of Nathan Thorne, while incapable of erasing the profound tragedy, nonetheless ushered in a fragile, tentative calm across the neighborhood that had been gripped by fear and sorrow. Maya's murder had torn a gaping, festering wound in the collective spirit, a stark violation of their once unquestioned sense of security. Yet, with justice finally rendered, the slow, arduous process of healing, of painstakingly stitching the community back together, could at last begin. Cornerstone Groceries, which had stood as a vibrant symbol of everyday life, brutally interrupted, slowly, deliberately, began to find its footing once more. Mr. Patel, the owner, a man visibly aged by the loss of his bright employee and the dark stain on his beloved business, consciously initiated efforts to mend the fractured trust within the community. He invested in cutting-edge security systems, not merely for protection, but as a public declaration of renewed safety, a visible commitment to their collective peace of mind. He even began hosting weekly community coffee hours, fostering a renewed sense of shared space and quiet resilience, transforming the store itself into a tangible emblem of their determination to reclaim what had been stolen. For Maria Rodriguez and Leo Chen, the journey through grief remained a winding, desolate road they knew would stretch endlessly before them. Yet the verdict provided a pathway, however narrow, towards rebuilding a life around their profound loss. They fiercely refused to allow Maya's memory to fade into mere sorrow. Instead, they chose actively to channel their pain into enduring purpose. With an outpouring of support from local artists and community leaders, they proudly established a Maya Rodriguez Arts Scholarship at the neighborhood's community college. This initiative ensured that Maya's fervent passion for art, her boundless creativity and radiant spirit would continue to inspire young, aspiring talents for generations to come, transforming her legacy from a victim into a beacon of enduring hope. The community, once bound by shared fear, now discovered profound strength in collective solidarity. Vigils were held not as acts of protest, but as quiet, poignant remembrances, their flickering candles illuminating a path forward from the darkness. Fundraisers quickly sprang up, channeling resources towards Maya's scholarship and local crime prevention initiatives. Neighbors, once isolated by individual anxieties, began speaking more, watching out for one another, understanding that vigilance and a willing commitment to share information were crucial defenses against the insidious shadows that had once descended upon them. Maya's story, though a profound tragedy, ultimately became a stark reminder of the delicate peace of communal life and the enduring, powerful importance of collective empathy, unwavering support, and active participation in the face of unspeakable sorrow. It stood as a testament to humanity's inherent capacity for connection and renewal, even after profound disruption. The Maya Rodriguez case stands as a profound testament not merely to a criminal investigation brought to a close, but to the unwavering dedication of law enforcement and the revolutionary impact of technology in exposing even the most elusive truths. For detectives Miles Corbin and Sarah Reed, the file on Maya Rodriguez represented more than just a resolved inquiry. It was a deeply personal odyssey, a relentless quest for accountability on behalf of an innocent life taken with chilling indifference. This case solidified their professional conviction that no shred of evidence, however microscopic, should ever be dismissed, and no lead, however faint or seemingly insignificant, should remain unexamined. It highlighted the critical insight that often the most pivotal clues emerge not from dramatic breakthroughs, but from the painstaking assembly of forgotten details. The investigation into Maya's murder cast an unsparing light on the pervasive nature of modern surveillance. From the aging internal Bodega cameras that first caught a terrifying glimpse of the killer's clandestine exit to the intricate web of municipal traffic cameras, and even the seemingly benign residential doorbell cameras, these ubiquitous lenses transformed into silent, invaluable witnesses in the tireless pursuit of justice. What might once have been dismissed as mere background visual noise, a blurred incidental recording, became undeniable proof, meticulously charting a killer's every deliberate move. This case vividly illustrated how these passive digital observers, silently recording the everyday tapestry of existence, are fundamentally reshaping criminal investigations, transforming once invisible acts into indelible digital footprints, thus significantly diminishing the shadows where perpetrators might attempt to conceal themselves. The precise language of data once decoded proved more compelling than any human testimony. Maya's story, though tragically cut short, resonated profoundly, extending far beyond the intimate confines of her quiet, close-knit neighborhood. Her vibrant spirit, her artistic aspirations, and the brutal injustice she suffered became a potent catalyst, igniting a community's resolve to confront its vulnerabilities with unflinching determination. What began as a unifying wave of collective grief slowly, painstakingly evolved into a powerful, unbreakable solidarity. The community emerged stronger, forged in the crucible of tragedy. The Maya Rodriguez Art Scholarship, tenderly established by her grieving mother, Maria, and steadfast best friend, Leo, at the local community college stands as a living, breathing testament to Maya's enduring legacy. This initiative ensures that Maya's fervent passion for creativity, her boundless spirit, will continue to foster new talents, echoing her artistic dreams through generations of aspiring young artists. The scholarship transcends mere financial aid. It is a promise upheld, a future nurtured in the face of devastating loss. This case, in its totality, became a powerful narrative of how unwavering tenacity, seamless collaboration, and a steadfast pursuit of objective facts can ultimately penetrate even the most intricate layers of deception and denial. It was the harmonious coordination among initial patrol officers, diligent crime scene technicians, the tireless digital forensics team, and the persistent, empathetic detectives that collectively constructed the unassailable case against Nathan Thorney. Their shared commitment and individual expertise unequivocally demonstrated that justice, though sometimes a slow and arduous journey, can indeed be served. Ultimately, the Maya Rodriguez case remains a poignant, enduring reminder that while crime can leave an indelible scar on individuals and entire communities, the collective human will for justice and the vibrant, persistent memory of those senselessly lost can never truly be extinguished. It highlighted the profound, often overlooked interconnectedness of urban life, where seemingly isolated acts ripple outwards, profoundly affecting the very fabric of society. Maya's legacy, carried forward with unwavering devotion by her family, passionately championed by her friends, and deeply embraced by a grateful, resilient community, continues to thrive. It is a quiet but potent echo of justice, delivered, a testament to a life that continues to inspire, and a steadfast beacon against the profound shadows that at times fall upon our world. Ultimately, in a world which no darkness can truly hide from the relentless light of justice. If stories where unseen dedication and the silent eyes of technology bring justice from the darkest shadows intrigue you, be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to Shadow Files and hit the notification bell